Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be starting up our league with the inaugural draft. So this is going to be today us drafting through the first couple of rounds. We're going to be reacting to the draft as it goes on, and we will hope to get the players that we are hunting for. So the guy that I would ideally like to land with in round one is Victor Enriquez, my bad. So this guy, in my opinion, is probably the best hitter in the league. He has a decent personality. He can play left field competently. It looks like we could probably slide him to first base if need be, and he would be actually outstanding defensively at the position if that were to be what we do. He is durable. He is 22, so not even 22. So this guy is young. He is the best hitter in the league, and he is going to be a great pickup if we can get him. So ideally, he will be available when we come on the clock in round one. And yeah, after that, we'll see. So auto drafting, and here's to hoping. Here he is. Victor Enrique is still available with our first round draft pick. So I'm going to slot him in here. Let's take a look at who got picked. Kyle Rice went first overall. Very talented pitcher. I'm not going to dispute this one really at all. Uh, Sinker, curveball, changeup, forkball, 60 stamina, outstanding stuff, decent movement, solid control. I don't know if he's a first overall caliber guy, but he is talented. Tim Lockwood went second, 34-year-old pitcher. He has a very good personality, stamina, and hold runners, but being 34, that's probably not going to build a sustainable team. Mike Tennis, he is old, but he is a captain with ridiculous abilities and stamina. I can definitely see him going up that high, although, again, I don't think it's a sustainable pick. The Imperials, fourth overall, take a power heavy center fielder who I don't think is going to live up to the caliber of that pick at all. Aaron Paris, probably the best pick up to this point, 28, so he's not too old. Really outstanding batting profile, great personality, solid defense at second base. Kurt Foley, another pitcher in his 30s, fastball, curveball, slider, splitter. He'll be an ace, but the question is how long will he be one for? Willie Trevino, this is a quality pick right here. Sinker, slider, changeup, stamina, hold runners. Not a terrible personality, but really bad. And I definitely think he's got the talent and, of course, the age to stick around for a while. We have here, I believe we were on this guy, Irfan Riyad. uh, Cutter, changeup, splitter, screwball. He has stuff, movement, and control. He's humble. He's got some stamina. He is a quality player. I think I'm liking this pick quite a bit here at the eighth overall slot. And last guy who went here is Carlo Machio, who is not even good enough defensively to be a first baseman. He's 31. He's very power reliant. He is going to hit, and he is going to hit a lot of home runs, but that is about the limit of his abilities. And yeah, I don't really see him doing all that much. Victor Enrique, who is probably the best pickup to this point in the draft. At least he is, by my opinion. Even if he's just what OSA thinks, he's probably still the best hitter in the league. Now, if he's what our scout thinks, and I frankly trust our scout more than OSA, he is going to be a beast on the field. Ridiculous hitting ability, contact, power, eye, avoid Ks. He's got solid defense in left field. Probably going to look at moving him to first base. There are much fewer good first basemen than there are outfielders, where he should be a gold glove caliber, frankly, with his outstanding range and air for the position. Also good arm and turn plays, and 6'6" is going to play up quite nicely there. So our first round pick is going to really work for us here. So yeah, let's see who else got picked here in the first round. Aval Jute, who has some pretty decent abilities. He is 40 though, so we'll see this guy probably 2 years with the Gamblers before he completely implodes. Angelo Castillo, 80 stamina. He's not bad. I think this guy could be a quality pitcher for years to come. The Gators taking Jim Wallace. I think this is aggressive for this guy, but he's not bad either. Francisco Ramirez, another first baseman in his 30s with a not great batting profile. I don't know how these guys are going to play out in the long run. Matthew James with that elite control. We were looking at him as a potential first rounder, and here he goes. Unfortunately, not sliding to us in the second round. This guy is going to be an ace. So we will wish him well with the Gateway. Harrison Addington, an elite movement pitcher, another guy we were looking at as a potential first rounder with that slider also in his arsenal. Decent stamina, good movement stuff, and control. Gonna be a fan favorite there as well. Jonathan Levon, stuff, movement, control, fastball, curveball, changeup, forkball, stamina. Overall, I'm interested by this guy. He's fragile, but that's probably going to be okay. Jose Trujillo, and it looks like the Americans have made an outstanding pick here. I was looking at him as a potential first rounder myself. A spark plug. He's 24. He's got some really interesting pitching ability. You can't argue with that one at all. Probably the best value pick so far. Another old pitcher here in Abu Abin. And we've got Krzysztof Malik, who is another talented pitcher. He's a little older as well, but I think that's not a bad pick by the Appalachians. Josh Sawyer, he is probably worse than some of the guys still available. He is a fan favorite, but he's also 42. This guy is probably going to fall off a cliff in a matter of a year or two. That's a terrible pick by the Buccaneers. Sean Williams, one of the first non-first baseman off the board. In fact, he is probably the first baseman off the board because Victor Enrique is really a first baseman as well. Actually, Jesus Batel Jairo. Wow, I'm not doing good with the names here. And Aaron Paris, but and Sean Williams, he is 23, but this is a disgusting batting profile. Although his third base defense is going to be elite, he will likely win Gold Gloves, and he is a fan favorite and durable. I don't think this guy is a first round caliber pick. Mark Perry, another solid pick here, a younger pitcher. Then we have Juan Guillen, or Gillen. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I just am not doing so well with the names. Another power-driven profile here. He's 31. Frankly, I think he's a very good hitter. I just don't think that this is a good pick for a long-term build. Marcos Carmanoa, another old pitcher. Dustin Rios, another young third baseman. This is a better pick here. He is even better value considering where he's gotten drafted. While he has a terrible batting profile, he is still a fan favorite, and he has much better defense. He is, I mean, with that arm, he's going to absolutely kill the league. And he is, frankly, honestly, he might be a little bit better of a batter overall because he has at least something going for him, whereas Williams really just did not have anything on his side other than maybe that eye playing up. Randy Steenberg, this is a quality pick. Really interesting player. Stuff movement and really nice control. Fastball, slider, changeup, stamina. This guy is going to play well for the Cowboys. Phil DeRuiter. This guy is not a bad pick at all despite his horrific batting profile. He's a left fielder with some really overstated numbers here. The BABIP is probably not great. Oh, he is splitty, but still not bad. Scott Matheson will be the first reliever off the board. He's a fan favorite in 26, but he's also fragile and, of course, a reliever. He can't really start. I think it's very dangerous to you be drafting relievers this early. Another first baseman with power, Miguel Munoz. I think this guy's a pretty solid hitter, and being 26, this isn't a bad pick. He's not too splitty as a lefty. It's really just the power that's splitty, which you can live with. I think he's quality. He's got some really nice defense too. 6'8". Fred Baldwin, not a bad pitcher, not a great pitcher. And Tuyo Moss with a very interesting capitalized O in the middle of his name. Not sure if that's supposed to be there, but bad personality. He is 36 as well. I think he's probably going to decline very fast, especially with that low work ethic intelligence personality. That stamina could really drop if he suffers an injury. He has 3 pitches, and one of them is a changeup. So if that changeup falls, then you're looking at this guy's just not a good pick at this point at all. Daniel Hamiel. Oof. This is just a terrible pick here by the Stars. This is the first absolute blunder of the draft. You will see more like this. A third base prospect with no ability at all to live up to where they could have been taking a star player. Absolutely blundered by the Stars. Marcio Villardeb. He's not a bad third baseman defensively, but that batting profile is not going to play at all. Terrible avoid Ks. I'm assuming the BABIP is below average. He's all power. He's got a decent eye, which should help a little bit, but he's also unmotivated, which is not going to work. He's not that good. He is already almost 28, so I'm not liking that pick either. Roger Hornaday, another old pitcher. He is a good old pitcher, but he's still an old pitcher. Corey Horn, he's not bad. He's got stamina, fan favorite. He's only 26. He's got some ability. Justin Dupoy, another all-power first baseman who is probably not going to play great, and he is 33. Miguel Valencia, a second baseman with all power. I think this is a better pick considering his defense. So he's not terrible. He's 27, and even though his batting profile is disgusting, he will hit well for a second baseman. Jeff Chisholm, who will probably be playing right field for the Aztecs. Quality defense, but well, actually not great defense, but the bat is questionable. It's another power heavy profile. The eye should help again, but not the best pick. Another reliever, Ricardo Garcia. This guy is better than the first one. He's a prankster as well, which should help out for the Rebels, but I'm not sold on relievers going this early at all unless they have really quality ability to start. Carlos Resendez. This is a very good pick for this point. Fastball, curveball, slider, splitter, 70, 60, 60, spark plug with stamina. He is definitely an interesting pick here for the Motors. Nick Leonard, another center fielder, goes off the board. Base running, driving his profile. He has a decent batting profile, probably a better pick than some of the guys we've seen go already, but I'm not sure about that one either. He doesn't really have the range to be a center fielder. JJ Galvez, I'm going to grade this as the best draft pick so far. Absolute monster. Fastball, slider, changeup. He's 23. He has stamina. He doesn't have the worst personality ever. He is durable. And considering this is a second rounder and a mid-tier second rounder, that is a really outstanding value for the Metropolitans. Wow, the Buccaneers butcher their second pick just like their first. Take a 40-year-old reliever. He's soon to be 41. He is a fan favorite. Well, this guy's going to fall off a cliff real fast, and then the Buccaneers are going to be in big trouble. The Appalachians taking a reliever as well, going with Omar Velazquez. Now, this is an interesting pitcher here. I hate relievers early, but that 80 movement is very intriguing. He has lower control, but that sinker slider combo with 105 stuff as well. When this guy's not surrendering walks, he's going to be indomitable. Eli Ramirez, another really high stuff pitcher here. Fastball slider combination with good movement. His control is a little higher. He is outspoken, and reliever and outspoken this early makes you very questionable. Jeremy Golerweski, another very high stuff pitcher here. Fastball splitter for 110 stuff. 60 movement and control as well. Decent personality. He's not a bad pick if he, of course, weren't a reliever, but he's a quality reliever. John Medina, this guy isn't even that great of a reliever. The Expos blundering here, taking a fastball slider. I mean, he's not a bad pitcher, but when you're taking a reliever in the second round, you'd expect it to be like an Omar Velazquez lockdown type guy here. He's just not going to be that. Ben Stauffer, while he is a quality hitter and a prankster, he's also 35 and already a mediocre fielding first baseman. This is a questionable pick. He's also extremely splitty. He's going to need a platoon partner at first base here. I don't like that pick at all for the Hurricane. That's a mistake. Netanya Nagar, another elite reliever. He's also outspoken. Another blunder. Like these blunders, though, they help us get our better players. Randy Green, another terrible pick. A 40-year-old outspoken second baseman with no defense. By the time that this guy is trained up at first base, which is the position that he will need to play, or left field, he's going to already have completely declined and have no abilities left. Dennis Rochefort, another terrible pick. Only a one pitch guy, really. While he does have a supplemental curveball and changeup, that's cutter is really carrying the profile. And he's only a 3-star guy here with that solid movement and control, but again, a lockdown reliever who's not even that great in the second round. Mark Miller, a good defensive right fielder with a questionable batting profile. Not a terrible pick relative to the other things we've seen today, but still not a great one. John McDermott, another questionable high-end relief pick. I mean, there's got to be some elite starting pitchers still available, and they're taking these mediocre relievers. Thomas Jacobo, well, he's probably going to slide a few rounds as a prospect. But Jeremy Bryant, this is a quality pitcher here. We've got, while he's a little older, Jacinto Amato. There's Matt Cole. We've got David Carruthers. And if you're taking these older relievers, why not just take an older starting pitcher? Ooh, I like Andy Collier a whole bunch. We're going to have to take him in the near future. He is fragile, and his demand makes me think he's probably going to slip at least a few more rounds. So, not doing it here, but we will draft him. Brady Flowers is a quality pitcher as well. He is tempting, especially given he's got a slider. I think we're going to have to take a chance with Flowers following to the next round. I want to take another hitter here. So our options are Ben Copeland, who I expected to go pretty early on in the first round. He does have a power eye based profile for his batting, but he is a very solid defensive center fielder. And frankly, this hitting profile is going to play pretty well. He's durable as well. I think if he falls another round or two, we're going to have to take him. David Barbosa. Barbosa, a solid defensive third baseman, one of the better batting profiles in the draft. He's relatively neutral, which is what you like to see. He crushes lefties without being too splitty. He can play right field, so if we get a better third baseman, we could always slide him to the outfield. Xavier Considine. Wow, this guy could be the back here. Outstanding batting profile, power, eye, and contact. While he is a little bit splitty as a lefty, this guy is just ridiculous with that batting profile. He could still hit lefties okay after developing a little bit. He has a decent profile. I'm liking him a lot. Steve Reed, well, his personality is just not it. He is young and a decent third baseman defensively with a really nice batting profile, probably among the better in the draft, although he is a switch hitter who's very splitty. That I don't love. Mike Struss, probably not a center fielder here, but definitely an elite corner. He has very little splits. He's a switch hitter as well. In fact, he has absolutely no splits. These are perfectly even. He will train up very nicely in either corner. Really good base running. I think based on his demand, he's going to slip a few more rounds. He's also 21, but this guy's going to be a big time target for us. Adrian Cepeda would be a great right fielder with a great batting profile. I think we'll keep him in mind, but that personality, he needs to drop a while before I really lay my eye on him. Alvin Dingus, another really good hitter here. We'll have to keep our eyes on him. Peter Geyer, here's another great hitting outfielder. Ooh, but extremely splitty to a terrible fault with that BABIP. I think that makes him almost undraftable. Mark Haas. Ooh, yeah, this is good hitter right here. Haas is a lefty who's not too splitty. He's got that E profile I love. Really good abilities overall. Fan favorite. I don't think we're drafting him here, but he's also durable. We could take him in the near future. I like that guy. I think Xavier Considine is probably the man. I don't know why we didn't even shortlist him. What does OSA think here? They like him even. Well, they actually like him worse. They think his batting profile is worse than we do. So if we take him, we're getting an elite left fielder, corner outfielder type guy. If we're taking what OSA thinks he is, honestly, the difference isn't that much. It's just a little bit of contact and eye. So the question is, do we think this guy's eye power and solid contact is worth drafting? It's a tough one, honestly. I don't really think anyone else here is getting drafted and is worth drafting over him. I would take Stress over him, but I don't think he's getting drafted in this round. I'd probably take Cepeda over him, but I don't think he's getting drafted. So if we take Considine here, I also really don't like the splits. I'm not loving splitty guys early. We may have to take somebody else, even if they're not getting drafted here, just to have them so that we can take other guys around the points where they would be getting drafted. So who is probably getting drafted soonest? Well, I want to have Copeland as our center fielder, given how far he slipped at this point. We could take either Barbiosa or Reed, frankly. And frankly, Field wouldn't be the worst fallback pick. He's power driven, but he has really good defense at third base, and we could probably find other fielders at the position. So I think Copeland could be the play. At the same time, he could fall another round. We could go with a pitcher here. We could take Struss. I'm liking Struss a lot. How is Muth? Well, he's not a second baseman, really. I guess he could be. And he does hit very well. He's young, durable. His demand also making me think that he's probably slipping a little bit. Who does OSA really like? Rich Bridges, outfield prospect. We like him a lot too. We'll definitely be taking this guy a little bit later on. And Juan Monaves with a really good arm. We also have him shortlisted and another really quality batting profile. We will be taking him as well. They like Barbiosa a whole bunch. They like Chris Cohen. He's not bad, but I don't know. I mean, I guess with that 85 arm, what's the worst that can happen by taking this guy in a few rounds? Carlos Flores, you also have him shortlisted. I guess he's another option at third base, which is seeming to be a very deep position. Tim Hicks, another prospect that we also do not actually have shortlisted. I will do that. We'd consider him. Steve Lee, Dan Logan. Looks like a whole bunch of prospects here are what OSA is liking. And some guys that I don't really like, even if they are what OSA says. CJ Taylor here is going to be a very good prospect. Outstanding batting profile, regardless if he's OSA or what we think, and a great personality should help him develop with that work ethic, intelligence, adaptability combo. Too bad this guy's a catcher. He could play a little bit of first base, but he has a very, very quality batting profile and durable. Josh Broomer. Yeah, they have a lot of prospects. Honestly, Considine is one of their best rated players here. All right, well, let's also think about it this way. We're only going to have 3 outfielders, 1 first baseman, and 1 DH. So if we're taking Copeland to be our center fielder, that leaves 2 spots open. I really want to have Struss, so that's our left or right fielder. He could play either one. And if we're taking Cepeda to be our right fielder, then that's our outfield right there. And if we already have, who was it, Enriquez at first base, then that leaves us only with our DH slot. So if we're taking Considine here, it's to be our DH, which, as he is so splitty, I'm not really liking that option. And we've got, who else could potentially fill out hole? We've got Dingus. Dingus would make a great DH. He'll hit plenty of dingas in that role. Well, actually, not really. He's more of a contact guy, but still. Geyer would fill that role well. I mean, there's just plenty of guys that I could see outperforming Considine. I don't think there is a center fielder who's going to beat out Copeland's very well because he does have that really high error, which is going to drive up his defensive value ever so slightly. He is pretty solid as a hitter, honestly, and OSA likes his defense too. You're not really going to find many guys this good in this round, although maybe we do go with a pitcher. I don't know. Let's quickly pull up some fieldings ratings. Okay, there's an 85. Oh no. This guy's our center fielder. There's no question about it. 85 range. OSA thinks he's 80. And that is just a ridiculous batting profile. He's even a lefty who's not too splitty. This guy is just the dream. There's no question. So if we're taking Copeland out, it's to be. I think if he falls far enough, we'll draft him. But I doubt he's going to fall far enough that it'll be worth it. I don't think any of these guys are particularly worth drafting as second rounders except Struss, and I think he's going to fall a little bit further, so I don't see the point in drafting him this early. Considine I kind of like, but not enough. Let's take a look at pitchers again. Jacobo's the highest potential guy here, but I'm not so sure he's the pick at all. Jeremy Bryant is certainly tempting. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, intelligent. 22, inexpensive. Matt Cole, he's not bad either. Andy Collier, though, very good pitcher. It's a shame he's fragile. I honestly would be drafting him here if he weren't fragile. That slider, I'm tempted to, even with his fragility. Don't like this guy too much. Although he is a spark plug. Navarro, don't like him too much. Ooh, but this guy is pretty much a two-pitch dude. Prospect. Not developed enough. Whipple is tempting, but I think he's going to fall. Yeah, with 850,000, he's fallen a little further. JP Adams. Okay, so I think it comes down here to Collier or a batter. And I like Collier a whole lot more than most of the batters that we have. I just don't think any of these pitchers are even close to being first or second round worthy. So it's him, Copeland, or Considine. I think we're going with Collier here. Just gonna have to hope he doesn't get hurt. We're gonna have to make sure we have a great trainer. Copeland is still available. Considine got drafted as I expected. Struss still available. Geyer still available. Cepeda still available. Brown still available. Reed still available. Barbiusa still available as well. All right, who got drafted here after we took our pitcher? So we took Collier, who I expect to be one of the best pitchers in the league when he's healthy. He has that slider, which I really like. Outstanding control, solid movement. He doesn't have elite stamina, but we can live with that. Considine went the pick after we drafted. Flores, Carlos Flores, who we were looking at as a potential third baseman after him. Vince Pryor, an old first baseman. Tim Randolph, this is actually a quality pick. We may have wanted to consider him instead. Really good second base defense. Frankly, I'm regretting not drafting him here. Outstanding batting profile. Absolutely demolishes lefties. Yeah, this guy would have been the pick. I feel terrible not drafting him. Trejo, not good. Villanueva is a solid pick. Another blunder here, this time by the Bullers, with a very mediocre reliever. Miguel Cruz, another questionable pick by the Cheesesteaks. 32-year-old reliever. This guy is actually a good pick. I think the Senators made a quality decision here. He's got a nice batting profile. He can be a legitimate center fielder. He's a captain. Not much to not like about him. A blunder here. Absolute blunder by the Cheesesteaks with a third-round reliever. 2.5 stars overall. That's just pathetic. Pat Karn, who we were looking at potentially drafting, but not too seriously. He has no range at second base. He might actually be a better center fielder than second baseman. Not a bad personality, not a bad batting profile, but in the third round, that is a very questionable pick. Keith Chapman, a solid hitter, but not too solid. Pat Martin, old and not very good. John Perez is ancient. Ben Ritchie, probably the best reliever in the whole draft here, honestly. Not a bad pick by the Crabs in the third round, considering just how good he is. Londes, this isn't a bad pick. He's only 28, and I think the batting profile is solid. And Croissant is after him. That's questionable, but not too bad. Okay, now a lot of talented players are going to go between this pick and our next one. Jose Mayorga? Yes, Mayorga. We're going to need a second baseman at some point. Ooh, Victor Maiderez. He's definitely not a second baseman, but boy, can he hit. This could be a DH choice for us here. He's durable. He's 25. He's cheap. Gotta love that. Efrain Rodriguez. This could be a legitimate second baseman. He's got a little bit of a hitting profile. 75 range. Splitty is a lefty, but we can live with that. CJ Taylor. Definitely have our eyes on him. Ty Adicott is a big no for me. Gregorio Ayala. I think he's definitely an option at second base as well. He's a lefty who's not too splitty. Decent defense with that range. Tommy Browning, he could probably play second as well, but he might be better at third base. A lot of prospects in this range here. Some interesting players as well. I'm not too sure that any of these guys are necessarily appealing to me all that much. Bob Grisby, I think he's not bad. He's solid enough. Raul Guzman, this guy could be our starting second baseman as well if absolutely necessary. I will shortlist him. That I should help carry his batting profile a little bit, and the defense will certainly be acceptable at the position. Yeah, he's not too splitty, but he is a right-handed batter. Ooh, Dennis McKeown. There are a lot of these very interesting batting profiles from the corner outfielders. He's a lefty who's also not too splitty. He's still quality hitter versus lefties. So I'm liking this guy as a potential pick. He's durable as well. Well, obviously not this round, but at some point he could potentially pop onto a Raider. Bobby Miller, nearly as good a hitter as some of the guys at the top, but he is much further down here. So it's really a question of, do we want to take Copeland here or risk him going another round? And I think we're going with the latter because we have that other guy that I honestly like even better as a center fielder. Barbiosa is an option at this point, but again, we have him and Reed and other people, so that's probably not the play. I think Mike Struss might be the play here. He's a very talented hitter with a very good personality. His defense will make him extremely valuable in either corner. He runs the bases. He's cheap and young. Cepeda is probably the only real rival, and I don't even think he's close. We're going to need to look at taking Jacobo soon, though. We are absolutely taking him, and I don't know how long he's going to last at this point. Jeremy Bryant still available is interesting, but I think we're taking a couple hitters right now. We got our ace. We can take slightly lesser quality pitchers. So I don't want to wait any longer and risk him getting drafted. We're taking Stress. Yeah, we're taking Stress. Copeland is miraculously still available along with both Barbusa and Reed. So these top end hitters are just not being taken for some reason. Our scout could be slightly off on them, but I doubt he's that far off. Let's actually take a look at what OSA thinks of Struss. They still like him quite a bit, and he's actually got even better defense by their standards. I have no problems drafting him that early at all. The 11th pick, Mazone, a third base prospect by OSA and technically by our scout too. I'm not loving his range too much, with a terrible personality and not much of a bat, so blunder there by the gamblers. They are really taking some gambles here. Chris Curtis isn't a bad pick. Not an ideal batting profile, but it's one you can live with. Schulte isn't a bad pick. Saulnier, here's a solid pitcher, but he is 36 as well. Another mediocre batting profile, Zapata. He's not bad. Fan favorite with a great personality. Probably one of the best that you'll see. Solid batting profile. He is 35. Another really ancient, very power driven first baseman. Outspoken. Ooh, Bill Sandoval is an interesting pick here by the Americans. The Americans making some sneaky good selections. Although he is a splitty lefty, he does have a very good batting profile. He is 30, but I think he's going to play pretty well. Where are the Americans? Okay, here we go. Dave Williams. A huge blunder here by the Enterprise. Not the best player in any sense. Rob Livos, this is a terrible pick. The first catcher off the board. Terrible fielder. Mediocre batting profile. Marco Rojas, a blunder by the Buccaneers, yet another. They must have these teams must have terrible scouts. There's no real explanation for taking players who are this bad this early. He's fragile too. Phil Gluchowski, center fielder, who actually went before Copeland for some reason. Terrible batting profile, but decent defense. You could do worse. Eric Millison, another elite reliever. This one is a very quality pick by the Aviators. An outstanding movement control, or actually movement stuff profile. Again, fan favorite. Interesting pitcher. He's also got a slider on him. And here we are. Rich Gadley. This is a quality player. Not a great personality, but a quality player. Kevin Patterson, another blunderous pick here by the Rebels. OSA and our scout both think he's terrible. Josh Lindley. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's that good at all. And he's old. Ernesto Salgado, another blunder here. Littlefield, another blunder. Sassetti, another. He's not too bad. He can play center field all right. Alex Leone, a quality hitter, a quality personality, and an old age. Dave Tenorio, another interesting player. Jose Hernandez, another guy drafted far earlier than he should have been. Kyle Coton. If guys keep taking these terrible relievers, we're going to be in great shape. Kyle Osborne, who would have made a great pick if we had managed to grab him. Fan favorite with a lot of quality on him. No, Jason Garrick. Oh, the best catcher of the draft has gone. We may have to work out a trade with the parade to pick him up. His 85 catcher ability is by 10 points the best out of anyone in the league. And he's not a bad hitter for a catcher. The profile isn't ideal, but he's a lefty with winnable splits, and he's not bad. While he is 32, I do think he is a very good player that we may need to pick up. This isn't a terrible pick, except the defense isn't great. A pitcher with no control. I don't like that pick at all for the Apollos. Raul Pena, this is a quality pick for the Cowboys. And Thomas Jacobo goes to the Aztecs like every single elite pitching prospect seems to. Luis Ulola. But yeah, he is going to need to be a trade target for us immediately because he is just a ridiculous potential. Ivan Gonzalez, not a bad player here going to the Rebels. Rich Bridges, probably the best prospect in the game by OSA, and our scout liked him quite a bit too, but he will end up with the Motors, so we're going to need to keep our eyes on some of these prospects who appear to be going off the board in this fourth round. A couple of bad batting profiles and an ancient player, another ancient player with a terrible batting profile. Jason Moore, a quality pick at this point. Frank Burgos, a absolutely idiotic selection there by the Enterprise, who seem to be incompetent. CJ Rabe, this is a decent pick. Honestly, I would not have minded this guy as our second baseman. He's got solid batting profile with really good defense. Josh Galloway, another great fielding profile, but complemented with a terrible batting one. Josh Stusser, another bad batting profile, terrible catcher. Not a bad catcher, but also old and it's not a great batting profile either. Nate Tapp, not good. Armando Santana, he's not bad either. Justin Usher, he's not too terrible. All right, so now our options are going to once again include Copeland. And once again, I'm still not drafting him yet. We could take one of our third basemen, but I think we're also at a point where it's a shorter period of time before we hit our next pick. It is. So the odds that one of them falls to us at least are pretty high. I won't go that route. Cepeda is on the table at this point, although honestly, with what OSA thinks, he will probably fall further, and I don't really want to draft him with that personality based on what OSA thinks as well. Geyer, I think, will fall a little bit further, but he is definitely going to be a target for us when he does get to a point. Haas could be an option right now. I don't know how much further he's going to last. He's a fan favorite. He hits really well. OSA doesn't like him quite as much, but I still think he's a quality player. Jerry Longo, frankly, if we're drafting a DH, he's not a bad pick. Oh, splitty lefty, never mind. He's a bad pick. But I think we're going with our second baseman this round, Jose Mayorga. He's actually also that Tatsuo Tamura running profile with some ridiculous stealing and base running and slightly lower but still elite level speed. Great batting profile as well, the Luis Arias type with very high contact and avoid Ks, lower power and I and solid gap power. I don't know how the defense is going to work at second base. He's durable. I think if he slips enough, he could be a pick for us. But Victor Medeiros, I think he's definitely another option as a DH type guy. Whether he's what we think or OSA think, which is two very different players, by the way. He's going to be some really interesting. He could also be a corner outfielder. I think we definitely need our eye on Medeiros. If not, we draft him right now because I'm really liking him. Efrain Rodriguez, definitely a second base candidate. I think he could actually be the guy for right now. 26. He has some really good range. Not bad batting profile. I mean, honestly, who are we going to get that's better? Oh, wait, I forgot about Elia. So maybe we don't draft Rodriguez immediately because we have Elia to fall back on. And I'm not huge on the second base defense this year, so I think he's not a bad pick. And he's also younger, hits better, and durable, which are all things I like. And he's intelligent, which is something he is not. I think Medeiros is probably the pick here. We can stick him at a whole bunch of different positions. He's a leader. He is a very, very good hitter. Again, regardless of whether he's closer to what OSA thinks or what we think, he's going to be a downright elite hitter. And overall, he's a solid corner outfielder. So I think we're drafting him here. I'll set him to left field for the moment. In an absolute emergency, he could be our starting second baseman. And let's see who else has gone. Not going to look at each player and analyze them at this point, but we will look at them. Pete Woods, kind of sad he went. He would have been an interesting target. Schoenfield probably overdrafted. This does not make sense to me. De Jesus doesn't make sense to me. A lot of these guys just do not make sense, but Jake Harris, the Imperials making another interesting selection here. Probably the best reliever draft pick so far, given how late he went. An interesting and aggressive move by the Bullroos, who clearly have no idea what they're doing. The Cheesesteaks taking another high-power outfielder? Oh no, Brady Flowers. We should have drafted him. The Senators will instead pick up the best pitcher who was left on the board. And then go back and take a very solid first baseman to accompany him. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Barbiosa, drafted by the Cheesesteaks. So we're going to have to take our third baseman now. Urbano Conforto, another terrible third baseman. Raul Guzman, who we were looking at as a fallback second baseman, also falls to the Imperials. David Carruthers, who I was talking about earlier, now drafted by the Mustangs. Oliver Petty, who was one of the top-end pitchers left goes to the Balloons. Warren Golden, this guy was very good, but also old. He will go to the Crabs. Ricky Soria, one of the better pitchers left to the Sound, although look at that changeup. That's never coming along at his age. And a catcher who is not that good going to the 5 Points. I guess he's not really a blunder. OSA likes him well enough that he could be okay. Copeland is somehow still available. I honestly don't know how he's here at this point in the draft, but I want him to fall at least another couple rounds before I'd consider him. Muth's still available as well. This one's also a bit of a surprise to me. I'm honestly a little bit astounded that these guys are still here. Steve Reed, gonna have to be our third baseman at this point, I think, unless we could find somebody who is gonna last a little while, who's better than Reed significantly. I'm really not seeing anyone here. Actually, Buskirk, while the defense is probably slightly worse, the batting profile might honestly, no, it's not better. I keep forgetting that Reed is such a good hitter. Decker isn't bad. Steve Lee is a prospect. McClelland is, yeah, it's gotta be Reed. Nobody's even close. Danny Tapia is probably legitimately the next best third baseman here. Are there anybody that OSA really likes? Nope, don't like him. He's a second baseman, and I also don't really like him. Well, they really like Mayorga as well. Pfeiffer. Well, with that defense and OSA's anticipated batting profile, I'll shortlist him. Parker Wilson. Now, here is an interesting player. He's certainly going to go in the next round. He's a spark plug. He is fragile, but he could play probably second base really well. Oof, that batting profile. Yeah, OSA just does not have anybody that I'm really sold on either. I think Steve Reed is the play. They don't love him nearly as much, but they do still like him. I'm not a fan of the splits. I'm not a fan of the personality. I'm not a fan of the cost. But he's by far the best player available, and there is just nobody who's going to play third base like him. Steve Reed it is. All right, who is a casualty of going to a bad team here? Okay, don't care about him. Don't. Maybe I do. No, don't care about him. Jimmy McClelland, who we were taking a look at. Kevin Cooper, older. Edgar Martinez to the Hurricane here. Yeah, it looks like the AI is just really stupid. Oh, but the Americans with another outstanding selection in Mayorga to be their second baseman. This is going to be a team to be reckoned with. They are making a lot of really smart picks. Rowan has a great personality. He just does not have the age to be a longevic player. Jay Kaplinger here. It's a shame that we missed him because he is very good. A captain with a ridiculous batting profile, corner defense. I'm very saddened by the fact we didn't draft him. Pedro Moreno. He can't hit and he's overdrafted here, but the Buccaneers probably just made their best selection so far. Ken Cummings, probably one of the best pitchers left. Goes to the Metropolitans. Mark Hass, we miss him, and he will go to the Aviators. Sineth. Another ancient first baseman. He hits well, but not well enough. Vega's not bad. Oh, never mind. Copeland got drafted. He's going to be a Cowboy. That's fine. Juncito Amato, who we were briefly looking at. Bobby Miller goes to the Seagulls. That's a little disappointing. Muniz, ooh, that profile is going to really be unfortunate. Alexis Paredes. Justin Anderson. Oh, no. Etheridge I was looking at potentially drafting. Rich Guzman, I believe, was also a quality player. Yep. Another quality Seagulls pick there. Anyone else young? Jose Cabello. Very good pick by the Motors here going this late. I definitely think the Motors are going to be another quality team. Padilla with probably the highest movement in the whole draft class. That's an interesting pick there by the Metropolitans. The Appalachians taking another quality third baseman. Frankly, I might have preferred Pinetto to Reed. He's not as splitty. He's got a good batting profile, and he's a fan favorite. That is an unfortunate thing right there. Emmanuel Diaz. Man, that stamina is really going to limit him, but he's a quality player. Oh, if Frain Rodriguez goes to the Hurricanes, so they finally made a non-blunder. Well, actually, I guess they made a few good picks. Jason Earp. Ooh, that's a bad pick. Brian Tanner, not a terrible choice. All right, who is going to stand out at this point? Jay Brown is still available. I expect he'll last a little longer. Billy Muth. He's probably going to get drafted soon, but I'm still not sure I want to be the guy to do it. Adrian Cepeda. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to last either, but again, with OSA's only 2.5-star rating, my guess is a while. Dingus. OSA really does not like Dingus. He's all gap power to them. He's a lot more than that to us. These are starkly different players. I love what we think of Dingus, but I'm terrified of what OSA thinks of Dingus. Geyer. He is probably the best pick right now. He's not bad if he's what OSA thinks, and he's a star. Oh, wait, but he's splitty. That's right. Again, I'm not totally opposed to Longo. I love CJ Taylor. I'm just not sure we want to take him this early. I think Alaya is probably the pick to be our second baseman here. I like Grigsby. And I don't know how much longer he's going to be available. He also looks like a pretty safe pick. OSA and our head scout both like him pretty much the same amount. Ooh, but Dennis McKeown, he is just so good. I think we gotta take Alaya here. We need our second baseman. He is by far the best still available. What if we did take a pitcher? Who would it be? Jeremy Bryant almost certainly is the best guy still available. What does OSA think? He's probably going to wait another. I hope he lasts another round. That's really all we've got now. Cole is probably the next best here. Matt Cole. Mike Singer isn't too bad. Whipple isn't too bad. There are a couple guys here that I could still see big borderline aces for us. I just don't know if we want to draft them here. I think it's got to be Elia this round. Something else we got to consider is we're coming up on a point where we may need to draft our center fielder. Bryant is still here. Looks like Cole got drafted, though. Which makes him probably the best pitcher left on the board. If Rich DeCotaldo lasts much longer, I think he'll become appealing to us. Really good personality, and he's frankly not as bad as I'm making him out to be. We're gonna need to draft some of the other guys still on the board soon, though. Billy Buth is somehow still available. I do not understand. Did any of our favorites get drafted the last round? Matt Cole went right after we drafted. Don't care too much about this guy, do I? He's a solid player. I just don't think he should be drafted that early. Knapp isn't a bad pick, especially since he's a captain. Keegan Gaudian is probably the best rounded reliever we've seen so far, but he's also old and, of course, a reliever. This guy is a quality pitcher. I regret not having him. That guy's not a bad second baseman. And, yep, Binyaha. I think we were looking at him. He's definitely very good. Although, also with that worst personality. Felix Jimenez, a spark plug here. Cesar Soto, another interesting overdraft. Leo Gomez with that stuff movement combo. And Kevin Liu, a relief prospect, but that fastball, a 90 grade potential fastball. I've never seen that before. Really interesting on that. Well, guys, I think we've gone through only 6 rounds so far. We're going to pick it up next time with our 7th round draft pick, and we'll probably go through about 15 rounds, and then I will start doing stuff off screen since it's going to get a little less interesting. We'll definitely make sure we get all our top players, or at least as many as we can. I hope that we could build a nice, sustainable team. But before we finish, let's take a look at our guys that we've got. We took our ace pitcher, Andy Collier. This guy is definitely going to lead our staff to some extreme success. Cutter, slider, splitter with stuff, movement, and control, especially high on that control. Going to be a great piece to build around. Victor Enriquez, who I think is the best hitter in the league. He's going to demolish his competition as probably a gold glove caliber first baseman with that defense. Gregorio Alaya, our most recent draft pick, a solid defensive second baseman who is going to be an interesting lefty in our lineup as well. Definitely bringing a solid bat to the table. Steve Reed, who is a controversial pick here with a bad personality and also quite a splitty lefty, but he is going to really crush righties and definitely going to be an interesting guy. Victor Mideres, who is going to demolish lefties, regardless of whether he's what OSAR Scout thinks he's going to be outstanding. And I'm really high on him. And finally, Mike Struss, who I'm going to set to right field provisionally. Outstanding personality, going to probably lead the team with one of the better batting profiles as well. I think this is likely our leadoff hitter right here, and I am very excited to see him go. So as you can see, we're definitely going with a hitter-heavy approach here. I think it's easier to fill in pitching than it is elite hitting. So that's what we are doing. I'll see you guys on the next video, and we will absolutely get into the next couple rounds of the draft and see what we can do.